Hello, everyone. This is Ma'am Sam. I hope you can hear me clearly. So, for today, we're going to have another lesson for EDUC 60. I hope you are in a conducive place to study, focus, and get a pen and paper. Wag lang manood. You try to take down notes of the important details during our lecture. Okay, so for today, we're going to have social science theories and their implications to education, of course. So, what is the purpose of this lesson? It is connected to our previous lesson, although we've discussed history of education in the world and in the Philippines. This would help us as well understand how society and education influence each other. We've mentioned in our previous discussion that society and school are interconnected, meaning to say one cannot meaningfully exist without the other, right? So the society needs the school in the same way that that school needs society. So ano bang purpose nun? What is the purpose of society? Society helps the school list down what to teach, 'di ba? Kung anong kailangan ng society, yun ang itinuturo sa school. If you have an agrarian community, then anong tuturo sa school? Siyempre about agriculture. And it has been proven through time, 'di ba po? During our discussion in history, kailangan or umusbong ang mga factories. So anong itinuturo sa school? Di ba? Yung mga skills para magkaroon sila ng efficient workers. Okay? So, nung sinakop tayo ng mga Spaniards, di ba? Anong gusto ng society? Gusto nilang ipalaganap ang Christianity. So, anong itinuturo sa school about Christianity? Religion. Yan. So, ganun po yun. Ano naman ang purpose ni school? The school is the one who transmits knowledge and not just knowledge, also values. Kaya nga tayo may formal curriculum tsaka hidden curriculum, right? So these are all connected to our next lesson. So social science theories, they explain why school exists, how they function, how students interact inside them, and even we are going to discuss even the problems or inequalities that they might reflect. Okay, so we have different roles, no? A classroom is like a society. Everyone has a role. And how they interact inside that classroom reflects bigger social systems. Cooperation, competition, communication, and such. Okay, so let's begin. So these are the lesson or these are the topics that we will talk about for this lesson. Starting off, of course, with knowing and understanding what theory is. I know it does ring a bell. You have heard this word for so many times already. Ano nga ba ang theory? So a theory, it organizes observations, 'di ba? From observations, nagkakaroon ng explanation, but hindi lang basta-basta explanation, logical explanation, which can be tested and corrected. Systematic ang theory. Hindi ka lang basta-basta nag-generalize. 'Di ba? May system, may structure. So if you notice students sit in the same spot every day, that's not random. That's a pattern, which a theory could explain. Kapag napansin mo na ang bata ginagaya ang matanda palagi, that's not a pattern. That's not a pattern. That's not random. That is a pattern a theory could explain. So a theory is like a structured way of figuring out why things happen. Yung why. Ini-explain niya yung why sa mga bagay-bagay. So it's like a big idea which helps us humans make sense kung papaano ba nag-work ang isang bagay. For example, in education, we have different learning theories. And these learning theories, these help us explain why students learn the way they do. kung bakit ang ilang bata hindi nila naiintindihan ng lesson kapag wala silang nakikitang PPT. Kung bakit ang bata mas nag-e-excel kapag lagi silang pinipraise. 'Di ba? So those are some examples of learning theories that you are encountering every day inside the classroom. So, specifically, what theory are we going to have for today? We're going to have social science theory. Ano naman tong social science theory? So, it's a specific theory, di ba? It is a framework for understanding and predicting how humans behave in society. So it is a framework to explain how individuals, how groups, how the institutions, even the society, how they interact and function. So ang social science theory, para lang yung lens. Depende kung anong lente ang titignan mo para magkaroon ka ng ibang perspective, 'di ba? Generally speaking, literally speaking, 'di ba? Pag ikaw ay, 'di ba sa iba't ibang lente ng camera, merong malapit, merong na-zoom out, merong zoom in lang, merong hindi nagagalaw sa iba't ibang perspectives, tama po ba? So merong 360, 'di ba? Ganon. Figuratively, social science theory, it's like a lens. The same event looks different. Huh? Same event, it looks different. It would look different depending on which theory you use to interpret it. Some might say education keeps society stable. Some theory under this will say education keeps the rich powerful. And some will say education is all about meaning. So basically, theories, para siyang opinions, iba-iba. Pero hindi lang siya basta-basta opinions, no? So theories are like opinions, but with research and citations. Ganon kabigat ang theory. Okay, so let's start off with structural functional theory. So the proponent of this one is Herbert Spencer. Ayan. So sabi ni Herbert Spencer, kilala si Herbert Spencer from our previous discussion. Okay, so ano nga po ang kanyang view? 'Di ba? Si Herbert Spencer ang gusto niya, mag-aaral ka hindi lang para may maisagot ka sa exam, kundi ano po, para ikaw ay may maitulong sa iyong society. So yun po si Herbert Spencer. So, andito ulit siya sa structural functional theory. So, siya ang proponent niyan at sinasabi niya na ang society daw ay parang human body. Every part has a function that helps society survive. 'Di ba? Parang human body natin. May function ang kanya-kanyang parte. At kapag pinagsama-sama yon, magwo-work ang isang human body. So ano naman yung part, or if we use analogy, ano yung every part na yun sa society? Yung family, yung school, yung church, yung government. So each one has a function that helps or that would help the society survive and thrive, even thrive. But if one part fails, the whole system will suffer. 'Di ba? So the overall health of the organism depends upon the health of each structure. So yung structure na yon, yung sinabi ko kanina, family, school, church, government, may kanya-kanyang function yan na nagko-contribute sa stability. Yun ang gusto ni structural functional theory. Kailangan mag-work ang bawat institusyon para magkaroon ng stability and continuity. So the school, anong function is school? The school trains people to become productive citizens. The family teaches values and care. The church strengthens morality. The government would help the society thrive and be at peace, 'di ba? Ganon sana. Sana, ideally speaking. Okay? So we have two functions. Please take note of this one. So may dalawa tayong functions. We have manifest function and what's the other one? Latent function. Manifest function, para siyang formal curriculum. These are intended or obvious functions. Parang, the manifest function of education is to teach knowledge and skills. Siyempre, di ba? Yun yung obvious function niya. But the latent function, latent, is it latent? Okay, the latent function ay yung parang unintended or learning or unintended or hidden function. So, ang manifest function ni education ay to teach knowledge and skills. Pero yung hidden function niya, it would also serve as a place for forming relationships, building teamworks, diba? So, forming friendship, that is a latent function. So, ang analogy niyan, kung ang ang manifest function parang formal curriculum, ang latent function parang hidden curriculum. Parang ganon. Okay? So, functionalists see education as society's way to maintain stability, sabi ko nga kanina. So, we develop skills for work. We promote shared values. Ano-ano yan? Respect, honesty, cooperation. We socialize with people from different backgrounds so that we could work together as one with one goal. So schools, they teach discipline. You wait for your turn, you raise your hand if you want to answer. You don't murmur, you don't converse with your seatmate when someone is talking in front, speaking in front, diba? Group activities, they teach you cooperation and accountability. Graduation ceremonies and other ceremonies, they reinforce something in you. When graduation, they reinforce pride in achieving something, diba? So the role of schools is to prepare students for participation in the institutions of society. Bilang si Herbert Spencer nga ang proponent yan. So the functionalist theory, it is focused on solidarity. So the functionalists, yung mga followers ni functionalists, si Herbert Spencer, so they see education as um, malaking contribution, beneficial contribution para magkaroon tayo ng isang maayos na syudad, isang maayos na komunidad, an ordered society. So ang schools daw, kaya siya nandyan to keep the society running smoothly. Kasi dyan natututunan ng lahat. 'Di ba? We teach skills, we promote values, we encourage social cohesion. We encourage social cohesion. What is social cohesion? Cohesion, 'di ba? Pag sinabing cohesive, merong solidarity. So what is social cohesion? Social plus cohesion is the unity, the solidarity within where? A society. So ano ba yung mga iba't ibang aspeto sa isang school cohesion? Number one, the students should feel valued. May school cohesion kapag ka ang mga estudyante nararamdaman na sila ay pinapahalagahan, naiintindihan, pinapakinggan, at connected sa community. 'Di ba? So, Sinasabi natin na ang environment ay cohesive kapag ka nag-encourage or re-reinforce, nagfo-foster, ayun ang tamang term, nagfo-foster ng trust sa mga estudyante at guro, 'di ba? If the teachers are able to create a secure place for learning and personal growth, if there is a mutual understanding of what is important and priorities, tuturuan ng priorities, no? And what else? Another aspect of school cohesion is that students or people inside the school, we are encouraged na tanggapin natin yung mga differences and not just acknowledge and accept the differences, but also support one another so that we could collaborate and help each other effectively. Papaano natin mafo-foster ang school cohesion? Kailangan sundin natin papaano natin matatap yung mga aspetong yun. Sense of belonging, trust and safety, shared, kailangan may isang goal kayo, mutual support, paano yun? Of course, ikaw bilang teacher, gumawa ka ng oportunidad para sa mga estudyante mo na sila ay um, cooperate with each other, build relationships with their peers, group activities. What else? For you to have the same goal, dapat alam nila what will be expected of them. You should establish consistent routines and expectations. Ang routines, ang rules, ini-establish yan first day pa lang ng klase. And hindi lang yun first day lang nangyayari. Dapat, once you establish it, you have to be consistent in implementing those rules. And for them to have belongingness, i-involve mo sila sa decision making. You give them autonomy. 'Di ba? Tulad nga ng lagi ko sinasabi, I want as much as possible to give autonomy to the students, especially future educators like you, kasi hindi magtatagal, kayo na yung magdedesisyon para sa isang klase or para sa mga bata, no? So, ngayon pa lang, we practice na, o sige, you you take into considerations the consequences that will happen pagka ginawa mo yung certain action na yan. So, ikaw ang bahala. No? Matuto ka. Diba? What else? Hindi lang naman sa pagpapagawa sa kanila ng group work nakaka-build ng interaction. You can also build strong relationships by being warm, 'di ba? Wag masyadong mataas ang wall. You connect with them. You try. Wag ka lang you don't just transmit knowledge. You try to connect with them and understand their situation as well. You try to be supportive, but not too much na ang estudyante na ang nagpapatakbo ng inyong classroom. You still have to have the authority, 'di ba? And so, dapat may cooperation, may empathy, and respeto. Hindi mawawala dapat ang respeto. Paano masusustain ang respeto? Kapag ang bata nakikita nila na we have a fair and just classroom. So, it would contribute to a stronger sense of cohesion. Mas papatibayan niya yun. Okay? Ayan. So, yung mga bagay na araw-araw ginagawa sa school, hindi natin napapansin na may implication yan in the long run. When we make our students line up properly, when we train them to line up properly, we're not just enforcing order. We are actually training them for a more orderly society. Di ba sa school, lagi ko nga sinasabi sa inyo, hindi lang naman subject matter ang tinuturo namin. We also teach discipline. We also teach you how to be accountable of your actions. Ang pagsunod sa mga rules, 'di ba? Hindi lang yan para sa pagpasa ng test mo. Ang pagsunod at pagbabasa ng instructions ay hindi lang matatapos or yung epekto niyan hindi lang matatapos sa pagpasa mo or pagbagsak mo sa test. Pagsunod sa instructions, pagiging maingat, no? So may ano yan, may extension lahat yan. Okay? So what are the purposes of schooling according to functionalists? So they maintain social stability, prepare people for jobs, transmit culture and values, promote unity, and such. So, schooling, it prepares students to be, sabi ni Spencer, to be good citizens and workers. So, tayo yung, um, we serve as, ano ba, socializers. As teachers, it is our duty to pass on the rules and values of the society. So, if we emphasize teamwork during our discussion inside the classroom, then we are preparing students for cooperation in jobs and communities. Matututo silang makisama, makibagay, sumunod, at mag-lead kapag nasa totoong field na sila. Tama? So ano ba yung intellectual purposes? Meaning the school exists to develop the minds, their ability to think, to reason, to solve problems. But not that's not the only purpose of school. Di ba nga marami yan? So, una lang yung intellectual purposes. Kaya tayo natututo ng math so that we could strengthen hindi lang mga numbers yan, no? Tinuturuan tayo ng math to strengthen logical thinking, critical thinking, para pagka nagkaroon tayo ng problema, paano natin yung susolusyonan? Siyempre, yung hindi naman lahat ng problema involved ang numbers, pero yung skill na yun na tinuro sa'yo ng math still keep pushing forward hanggang sa makasolve ka ng problem, 'di ba? Ang critical thinking mo, pag-a-analyze mo, disiplina mo, at tiyaga, yun ang tinuturo ng math. Hindi lang matatapos sa numbers lang. No? So yung mga investigatory or discovery tasks, inquiry-based activities, tinitrain ng mga estudyante to ask questions, to investigate, to clarify things, to verify things. So when teachers design problem solving, research projects, debates, they are fulfilling the intellectual purpose, cognitive skills, and inquiry skills. Political purposes. So the schools, they prepare students to become responsible citizens. Hindi lang matalinong mamamayan, kundi responsible citizen na alam ang kanilang karapatan at ang kanilang duty and how to live under laws. And pinapakita yan. Tinitrain na kayo niyan sa school pa lang. Flag ceremony, 'di ba? Laging may lupang hinirang, panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas. Promote patriotism. Yung mga lesson sa Philippine Constitution, 'di ba? Civic education. Tinuturuan kayo, ginagawa kayong aware sa kung anong meron sa konstitusyon natin at paano isang maging mabuting mamamayan, paano mo malaman ang mga karapatan mo at iyong mga duties bilang isang citizen in the Philippines. So, as future teachers, you should instill values. Ano yung mga values na pinaka-importante? Fairness, justice, love for country, even small acts, teaching your students how to follow class rules. It will mirror a larger goal. Sabi ko nga, mag-e-extend yan pag lumabas na sila sa society. Teaching your students to follow the established rules instructions, it would mirror the larger goal of respecting laws in society. Kaya instructions are instructions. Yan ang itinuturo natin sa education, sa teacher education department. 'Di ba? Instructions are instructions. Kung anong nakasulat dyan, yun dapat ang sundin. Bakit? Sa totoong buhay, syempre, 'di ba, you have to abide sa mga laws. Ikaw bilang teacher, hindi dapat mangyari na ang mali ay magiging tama at ang tama ay magiging mali. Dahil sabi ko nga, kailangan ikaw mismo bilang teacher, alam mo ang value ng equality, equity, fairness, justice. Next, economic purposes. According to a functionalist POV, the purpose of school ay para din daw to train students with skills needed for jobs to contribute to the economy. Ayan. Kaya nga nag-a-add tayo eh, 'di ba? Ngayon may tech voc trucks na. Nagtuturo na rin ng automotive, 'di ba? May nagtuturo na rin ng cookery, ICT, entrepreneurship, mga ganyan. Kasi we want to help students see the link between the lessons and the real world careers. So, tulad nga din ng sinabi ko kanina, kung anong kailangan ng society, ayun ang ituturo sa school. Ayan. Next one, social purposes. So, isa pang function or purpose ng schooling according to functionalist ay kasi daw ang mga schools tinuturuan ng mga estudyante papaano makibagay sa ibang tao, how to live with others, and how to handle social responsibilities and even moral responsibilities. Ang group projects, tinuturuan tayo ng teamwork. Ang guidance counseling session, kaya may guidance counselor to address injustices or dilemmas of students. Kaya rin may integration ng values, 'di ba? So again, sabi ko nga kanina, para ma-fulfill ang social purposes, according to a functionalist POV, the teachers should serve as role models of good behavior. One of the learning theories is that students or children would most likely imitate bad behaviors than good behaviors. So dapat ikaw bilang teacher, ikaw ang role model of good behavior. When you are a teacher na nagpo-promote ng inclusivity, ng kindness, ng fairness sa isang classroom, kung ano yung pinoproject mo, 'di ba? Yun ang i-absorb nila. You are shaping students' social and moral development as well by just um being a role model sa tamang paggalaw, tamang pag-uugali, 'di ba? May natututunan sila. Na-absorb nila 'yun. Okay? So again, intellectual purpose, the teachers should build students' thinking skills. Political purpose, teachers should mold students into responsible citizens. Economic purpose, teachers should prepare students for future jobs. And social purpose, teachers should guide students in values, morals, and relationships. And that's why schools make you clean your classroom and maintain the tidiness ng classroom. Hindi punishment yon. It's just a training for adult life. Maging disiplinado sa buhay. 'Di ba? Huwag makalat. Literally and figuratively. Next one. So yun po ang ano yung structural functionalist theory. So let's have conflict theory. Ang proponent naman ito ay si Karl Marx. I don't know if you've heard of his name, but he's a proponent of conflict theory. I don't know kung narinig nyo na sa history ang bourgeoisie and proletariat, the ruling class and the working class. So, conflict theory, according to Karl Marx, it views society as a battlefield, contrasting two contrasting groups, unlike structural functionalist theory, na kailangan magsama-sama or mag-work together to function as one para magkaroon ng stability and continuity ang society. Si conflict theory naman, parang battlefield. Yung groups of people in different levels, hierarchies, they compete for power, resources, and even control. So, Karl Marx, he argued that the history of all societies ay dahil sa struggles between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Yung mga 'di ba nga kaya may term sa mga Pinoy na burgis, mayayaman, burgis, 'di ba? And working class, proletariat, dun galing yun sa conflict theory. So, ito naman, theory na ito, it is a perspective that views our society. Sabi ko kanina, battlefield. No? So, para siyang ano, if we compare it, para siyang arena ng mga inequalities. So, the individuals, di ba ang arena, parang, oh sige, laban, laban, laban lagi. So, where, in ancient times. So, conflict theory, para siyang arena where individuals or groups of people, they are in constant competition for, syempre, we only have limited resources, no? So, dito nag-a-arise yung social conflicts, power dynamics. Bakit? Dahil sa inequality ng wealth, status, and again, first and foremost, access sa resources. So in this theory, they believe the people behind this, they believe that people take sides between maintain the status quo or introduce a change. Yun yun. Ano ba yung status quo, ma'am? Parang yung okay ka na sa kung anong meron. Stay na lang yan. 'Di ba? You're okay with what is existing sa community mo. Okay na yan. Ayaw mo na ng alteration. Pwede na yan. If you support status quo, then you are in favor of just maintaining things as they currently are. Ayaw mo ng pagbabago. So, yun yun. So, my team status quo and my team agents of change. Ayan. So, lagi daw may ganun. Two sides of conflict. Rich versus poor. And so on. So, may iba naman na ang sinasabi, ang conflict daw, it is not bad at all. It is what drives change. Kapag may conflict, may problema, may kailangan baguhin. So, ganun yung POV, no? So, in education, how are you going to connect this in education? The conflict theorists, they say that schools can either reinforce equality or inequality. So, hindi lang kanina, puro good things, good things, good things, no? Pero dito sa conflict theory, sinasabi din na students can sometimes reinforce inequality rather than removing it. Elite schools get better facilities. They produce future leaders. Elite schools give better opportunities than public schools. Schools na wala masyadong budget, they struggle with outdated materials. Dahil walang budget, they couldn't produce more opportunities. And that cycle keeps the rich rich and the poor poor. 'Di ba? As a teacher, if you're aware of this and you are called an agent of change, yan, you will try to bridge the gaps. You would want to give equal chances. You would want to help disadvantaged students. And you would challenge unfair systems. Di ba? Kayo bilang mga estudyante, so for example, when your group project has two people doing all the work, ang dami nyo, di ba? And the rest is just freeloading. That's conflict theory. Conflict through theory yun in action. Nangyayari din yan sa inyo. So conflict theory, it can exist in race, gender, dami yan, laging, di ba, every coin has its two sides. Race, gender, religion, politics, economics, in schools, gender bias, ano yun? Teachers expecting boys to excel in math more than girls. Teachers expecting girls to behave more than boys, wherein dapat parehas lang. Economic inequality. Students who cannot afford resources may fall behind, and students na may available budget, they will progress. As teachers, we must design inclusive strategies. Ikaw ang magbabalance. Hindi ka lang tagaturo, no? Ang dami mong gagawin. Kaya nga, ang teaching, it is not just like any other jobs. It is a calling. So as teachers, we must design inclusive strategies, fair grading, ensuring everyone feels valued, 'di ba? So conflict again, it's not always bad. It's necessary for change. As teachers, that is how we should perceive conflict theory. When students or even teachers challenge unfair systems, it can lead to reforms. 'Di ba? Kaya nga natin, in the 21st century learning setting, hinahayaan natin, pinapayagan natin na ang mga estudyante mag-voice out ng kanilang ideas. Because it is a way of pushing education forward, seeing things in new perspectives. Ayan. Na-absorb po ba? So the conflict, tinuturuan niya tayo to have critical thinking. And not just critical thinking, courage. Kasi, aminin man natin sa hindi, alam natin yan kung tama o mali ang nangyayari. Kaya lang, minsan, napangungunahan kayo ng pangamba, no? So, as teachers, we need to raise students who can speak up, but not in a bastos manner, di ba? You raise students who can speak up respectfully, rationally, hindi lang basta salita ng salita, di ba? Dapat ang binibuild mo ay ang bata na kaya niyang mag-speak up with respect, with basis, 'Di ba? Speak up respectfully for what is right. So ano po ba yung mga purpose ng conflict theory sa isang education? Number one, ni-expose. Ayan. So ano yung mga purpose ng conflict theory sa education? Number one, it exposes power imbalances. Other schools, they may favor students from wealthier or more powerful groups, diba? In private school, this is the reality. This is what happens. In a private school, students from wealthy families have better facilities, smaller classes, and access to technology. Meanwhile, in public schools, students lack these resources. The result, those already in power, wealthy families, they stay ahead. Tayo bilang mga guro, ang modern superheroes ng society. Dapat ma-recognize mo yan, ang imbalance na yan, and you try to create equal opportunities inside the classroom. Kaya nga yung mga SUCs, di ba? Yung mga state U's, nagha-hire sila ng mga teacher na makakapag-balance para kahit public school, state university, kayang humabol, magiging at par pa rin sa standards noong private schools or elite schools kung tawagin nila. Yan. So schools, it also sometimes reproduce inequality instead of solving it. So teachers, yun nga, sometimes unconsciously, sinistrengthen nila yung gender inequality. Dapat aware din kayo dun. Ang teacher dapat bukas ang mata sa lahat ng bagay. So you should give equal encouragement to all learners and you show diverse role models. Female engineers, hindi lang para sa mga lalaki. Ang nurses, hindi lang para sa mga babae. At dapat dito, very sensitive ka. Alam mo kung papaano makipag-usap. Mamaya sa isang theory, matatakel natin to. Okay. So, what else? Ayun, yung schools, they often track students, kinakategorize sila no, as fast learners and slow learners, which may limit opportunities. Bakit? As, di ba dati, as student is placed in a lowest section. So, yung teachers, nag-expect ng less from them. And over time, the students begin to believe they aren't capable. So, sige, ganito na lang ako kasi lowest section naman. Hindi ko kaya yung ginagawa ng mga nasa section 1. Kaya nga tinanggal yun. Nagkaroon ng heterogeneous classrooms, no? So as teachers, we should believe in growth and mindset. Hindi mo lang tututukan yung mga nag-e-excel na. Bigyan mo rin ng pansin yung mga nagsa-struggle. You have to believe in growth mindset. You have to give all the students an equal chance to shine. By not just giving one activity, you give differentiated activities, iba-iba. Instead of you labeling them early on. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, di ba? Ang pagja-judge natin, pag tayo ay susulat ng grade, mag-grade, mag-evaluate kung pasa sila or hindi. Pero all throughout the learning process, you don't have the right to judge because your role is to help them improve. So that is the purpose of assessment. So the goal of conflict theory is not just to criticize, but to push for fairer schools. That's how we view conflict theory as educators. Ayan. So sabi ko nga, di ba? Teachers become agents of reform. We model fairness and we open opportunities for all. So this theory, it reminds us, teachers, future educators, to be sensitive of the reality na merong inequality sa ating society. So we should balance that out. Okay? So that is conflict theory and how we future educators should regard conflict theory sa ating pagtuturo at sa edukasyon ng mga bata. Next, symbolic interactionist theory. As the term implies, symbolic. This theory states that people interact with one another through symbols. This theory focuses on individual meanings and interpretations, how people understand symbols, words, gestures, and roles in their daily interaction. And speaking of symbols, of course, language is a predominant symbol among people. So itong theory naman na to, it is a perspective na nagfo-focus sa kung papaano ang individual magke-create at mag-i-interpret ng meaning through pakikipagkapwa-tao or social interactions. So, ang focus niya, small scale, yung everyday interactions, di ba? People act based on meanings. They attach to things. And these meanings, they're not static. They change over time. 'Di ba? A teacher's smile can mean encouragement. A teacher's frown can discourage. This means, and it should remind us that every word, every gesture, and every symbol we use in class impacts the students deeply. Tama naman, 'di ba? A smile from a teacher is a symbol of approval. Grades are symbols too. A 100 isn't just a number. It means you have successfully accomplished the task. A student raising his or her hand, it's a symbol of respect. That's why, di ba po? When a teacher says, see me after class, the meaning, it depends on their tone and your conscience. Yeah. Iisipin mo agad, anong ginawa kong mali? So, depende kung paano nila sasabihin yung see me after class. Paano mo i-interpret yun? 'Di ba? So, that is symbolic interactionist theory. So, they require yung mga bawat language, bawat letra, bawat salita, bawat symbol, bawat action. It requires interpretation as well. 'Di ba? We assign meaning to words and gestures through experience. So, meaning or words are not static, meanings can change over time as we interact with each other. Now, to ensure mutual understanding, dapat ang sender ng symbol at ang receiver ng symbol, they must give or have the same meaning to that, excuse me, to that symbol, or bahala kayo, you would run a risk of misunderstanding pagka hindi same ang interpretation ninyo. 'Di ba? So, Again, sabi nga dito, words aren't fixed. They depend on interpretation. Tulad sa teaching, 'di ba po? Nag-ano rin yan, meron din yung exchange of symbols. Ang word na barkada, parang pag sinabi barkada, dati, ang ano mo dyan, troublemakers, no? Pero ngayon, it simply means close friends. Mga ganyan. So, ang tono, hindi lang bilang pagiging future teacher, bilang tao din. Minsan, ang intention mo iba, pero ang intention mo maganda, pero dahil ang pagkaka-deliver mo or ang tono mo ay hindi gaano pleasing, mali ang interpretation, 'di ba? So you have to be very careful with that. Next slide. So we have here, okay. So we have here three tenets of symbolic interactionist theory. So it should include number one, humans come from social interaction. Humans act toward things based on the meanings those things have. What else? Meanings arise from social interaction. They change through interpretation and through experience as well. So if a teacher labels a student slow, ikaw teacher na mismo, nag-label sa estudyante na ang estudyanteng yan ay mahina, anong ini-expect mo sa mga kaklase niya? Siyempre, the classmates would treat that student that way. And the student might start believing it. Nililimitahan mo. Hindi mo siya tinahayaan mag-explore. Kapag naman nilabelan mo na, kaya nyo yan. Capable kayo dyan. Ganun din yun. The student may live up to it. 'Di ba meron tayong placebo effect? Yung pagka minindset mo yun, sinet mo yun sa mind mo, may sinet kang bagay na maganda sa mind mo, yun ang paniniwalaan mo. You will live up to it. May kabaliktaran din yun. Nocebo effect, nocebo effect, Nocebo. Pagka nag-instill ka, ang mindset mo ay negative, ano rin yun sa'yo. Magpo-project din sa'yo. So, placebo and nocebo effect. So, students, they see education differently depending on their experiences. Ang mga bata na laging may galit na teacher, ayaw na pumasok. Pero, depende sa experience, ano. So, some find it empowering, some find it stressful. So, anong gagawin? As teachers, you must therefore make learning meaningful through positive interactions. So that is the challenge. Paano ko padadaliin ang lesson? Paano ko gagawing light as much as possible ang discussion? Because if you want to be an involved teacher, you will not just deliver the instructions. So, di ka lang magtuturo. You find ways how to make a difference. Dapat ang goal mo, lalabas ang estudyante mo na may matututunan kahit isang concept lang. Paano yun? Kasi meron tayong learning principle, di ba? Lear, um, Learners are the one who activates their own learning. Ibig sabihin, kahit gaano kakagaling ng teacher, kung ayaw ng estudyante mo matuto, hindi yan matututo. Anong gagawin mo as teacher? You would encourage positive relationship, positive environment. Yan. At pupunta tayo sa implications ng teaching. So teaching should focus on meaning and interaction and not just memorization. You create chances for genuine interaction. Magpag-group work ka, magkaroon ng discussion. Hayaan mong mag-connect ang mga estudyante mo sa isa't isa. At syempre, ikaw din makikonnect ka sa kanila kasi papaano mo sila maiintindihan kung hindi ka connected. Tama? So, hindi lang kaya nga sa inyo, 'di ba? Sa inyo pa lang, ranas na 'yan. Hindi tayo nagko-quiz. Iba't iba ring activities ang ipinaparanas sa inyo. So that you would be able to create your own meaning sa mga concepts. So the teacher's words, tones, gestures, they are powerful symbols. Yun ang pinaka-powerful na symbol na mag-shape sa self-esteem ng estudyante mo, sa motivation ng estudyante mo. You give a thumbs up, you call a student by name with respect, you give them encouraging notes, the students would build self-esteem and motivation kapag ka ang teachers, they affirm yung abilities ng mga bata. Saying, good job, very good. Di ba? Bilang estudyante, nakaka-boost yun ng confidence. Smiling, nodding, acknowledging their answers. Hindi ka mamamahiya pag mali ang answer nila. It encourages participation. Pag ginawa mo ang kabaliktaran, lagi ka nakasimangot, ni-ignore mo sila, ano yun? It would discourage even yung capable students, yung magagaling mong estudyante, they would get discouraged. Lalo ngayon, ang mga estudyante, mabilis makaramdam yan. At talagang ipaparamdam nila sa'yo kapag ka ayaw ka nila o gusto ka nila. Di ba? Totoo yan. So next time, di ba, sabi ko nga, ewan ko, bahala kayo kung gusto niyo. Nasa sa inyo yun. May iba't iba tayong prinsipyo at paniniwala sa pagtuturo. Ako, naniniwala ako na my principle is that hindi ako para magbigay ng punishment. Lalo kayo, matatanda na kayo. Nalimutan ng assignment, it's okay. Di kita para, where's your homework? Bakit hindi mo ginawa yan? Anong ginawa mo? Yan. Di kita sisikmatan. Sabihin ko sa'yo, it's okay. But you have to live up with the consequences. Yun naman ang lagi kong tinuturo sa inyo, di ba? To be accountable of your actions. Wala kang assignment? Okay. Eh di ano, i-grade ko sa'yo, wala ka ring grade. Hindi ka nag-participate? Okay. Eh di wala kang grade. Ganun yun. Hindi yun punishment. Consequence yun ng ginawa mo. Hindi yun panggagaslight. Eh ganun talaga. Wala kang ang pinasa. Anong i-grade ko? 'Di ba? Hmm. Sometimes, bago tayo mag-blame sa iba, mag-reflect muna tayo. Ano bang ginawa ko? Bakit ganun ang nangyari? 'Di ba? Yan kasi ang ugali ng mga Pinoy eh. Mahilig tayong manisi pagka nadedehado tayo. Wag ganun. Reflect muna tayo. No? Okay. Ayan. So, positive symbols to express our trust, belief in our students' ability, affirmation of their being, na-discuss na natin. Okay. Takeaways. Functionalism. It is a theory that focuses again on structure so that we could create a society that is stable and has a continuity. May equilibrium, may balance kasi nag-work ang bawat parts ang bawat institution. So the institutions are expected to do their part. For functionalists, change is necessary only when things get unstable. Magbabago lang sila babaguhin lang sila kapag ka unstable na kasi ayaw nila yon. They always go for stability. So society and functionalism works as a system. As teachers, we help keep society stable by raising disciplined, knowledgeable, and cooperative individuals, according to Herbert Spencer. For example, when school shift to online classes, that's society adjusting to stay functional. Hindi magsa-stop yan. 'Di ba? Nung nagka-COVID, 'di ba? Nag-iba ng learning mode. Nagbago. Bakit? Kasi kailangan mag-function. Kailangan maging stable. Kailangan magkaroon ng continuity. Despite the change, education continues. Tulad ngayon, 'di ba? We're having asynchronous classes. Next, conflict theory. Society changes through struggle and inequality sparks for reform. So it welcomes conflict, for conflict paves the way to change. So that is the establishment of a new society. Symbolic interactionist theory naman, society is built from daily interactions and shared meanings. If in conflict theory, the schools can reflect inequality, and can also lead to positive change. In SIT, or symbolic interactionist theory, the meanings, they shape behavior, meanings, they change through interaction. So yun yung mga key takeaways. Ano? So, you may be an agent of change who challenges unfair practices. You should be careful with words and your actions that would shape the student's identity. So, in a functionalist view, teachers are socializers, the stabilizers of society. In conflict theory POV, teachers are advocates for fairness. And in symbolic interactionist POV, teachers are meaning makers, role models through everyday interactions. 'Di ba? A small step is still a step forward. Parang gano'n ang kanilang motto. So, anong reflection natin dito? A teacher can be an agent of stability, according to functionalists, can also be a voice for fairness, according to conflict theorists, and be a creator of meaning. That is interactionist, symbolic interactionist, diba? So a teacher can be an agent of stability, a voice for fairness, and a creator of meaning all at once. So basically, you're not just a teacher. You are a sociologist, psychologist, part-time nanay, part-time comedian, para maging part-time ate, di ba? In one classroom. So, they remind us that itong lesson natin for today, mga theories na ito, they remind us that education is not just about teaching facts. It is about shaping the society, one meaningful interaction at a time. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something. See you on the next one. Goodbye, everyone.